I'm just saying,
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah. You were talking about
totally
the school shooting things and like the kid going to like making this VR world or whatever, and then like reenacting certain parts of it. That was, I think, my mom's concern when I was growing up, because all I wanted to do was to make VFX videos with gun muzzle flashes and explosions and stuff. And the concern at that time was, if you make videos like that, you'll be a school shooter, or you'll be violent, or it'll be hard to get a resume job. And now stuff like that is so popularized on social media that like that's fine now. But now what's the next thing? So at your time too, it was like, all right, well, publicly posting with alcohol is kind of, I mean, we live in the Midwest, so that's already a no-no. Maybe if you lived in LA, that's cool, maybe they wouldn't have cared 10 years ago in certain areas.
No, it's cool here now as well, but it's got to be a natural light or a bush light.
You got to do the natty. So
I think
it just changes
when you bring that up, because like every movie, or not every movie, but every movie that has a gun, they're not actually firing a real gun unless like they made that in a very pure intent.
With Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin, he made that mistake. But
whoops.
But you want to make a fake gun firing off look like a real gun, and like that, the attention to detail is pretty important.
Yeah,
and having a respect for that is huge. And so that's I don't know. Everybody kind of like is like, oh no, violence. I don't want that. But like we want to be able to remember things or make these stories and have them as fake real as possible.
Yeah, it's fake real.
Fakely real.
If I would have just started if I ignored what everyone said and just started practicing VFX when I was a kid, I'd be so good now.
Yeah. It would be very helpful because we need that.
I know.
Come on, Tristan.
I like how we went from vertical content all the way to here, like in a quick snap of the finger.
Yeah,
well, conversations are alive.
we did a hard turn back into the school shooter thing.
I know. I was like, whoa.
So
vertical content.
Corridor Digital is a good example of the kind of violent content that where they did that's kind of a lot of your inspiration. I've seen a lot of it.
It was Freddie W. Before. I didn't know about Corridor for like 3 or 4 years.
They are kind of the same thing.
It's some VFX channels. Yeah,
VFX channels, and they've also have like gone into doing this kind of like short form vertical video thing. And they've been adapting a lot of like their own scenes and stuff. I think it's interesting because we're all still trying to figure out what this is good for.
For sure.
It's NFTs of art.
It's NFTs, but people actually care about them
for some reason.
I know you don't understand it,
but I will. We'll learn.
Well,
we're not all experts, but we understand a bit more.
Well, and sometimes you don't have to like fully understand them. Like the actual feeling or sensation or what the psychological bit of like what makes people do what they do.
Yeah.
But like, I know this sounds horrible, but like you don't have to understand like why people are doing it, but it's something that's working and it's something that can get us views. And like, I know it sounds horrible, but that's like my view upon it. Like,
we're a company.
We have to figure out ways to take the tools that we're given and use those for our benefit.
I kind of see it as like a little, not like appetizers, but like those little like taste tester things, like when you're in Kroger or Walmart.
Tapas.
Kind of like tapas.
Yeah.
Where you walk by, would you like to try the new cherry chocolate combo thing in the little tiny plastic cup? That's what these short form videos are.
Yeah, it's an amuse-bouche.
Yeah. An amuse-bouche.
Yeah, that's what it is. And it's like, there's nothing, that's the exact conversation that we've had, is it's like, it's ways to put out 30 to 60 seconds worth of content that says, hey, look, like we're TRIFLIX, we're doing some fun stuff. Like we're kind of a silly group of dudes trying to make a living making videos. And so it's like, you see that and you're like, oh, well, maybe now I want to go see the longer
and
form.
Sweet. You're like, maybe I want some more. My tummy's kind of rumbling. I want to eat more of this video.
Well,
makes sense.
Yeah,
rumbles. Recently, Peter McKinnon released a video about this content and like how he felt about it, and he interviewed a lot of YouTubers, and that's kind of what got me thinking again. Which we've been talking about this since the end of 21. TRIFLIX ourselves trying to figure out how to take advantage of it, and so it was interesting to see his take on like how he feels about it and like why maybe it's relevant. And it's like, you can't fight the numbers, number one. And he was a huge like against it at first because he felt the same way as Tristan does. I mean, Tristan is an artist at its simplest form, you know.
Very simple.
Very, very simple.
I just mean like if you cut everything out, you're an artist, you know, other than being like, well, you're a professional videographer that makes content for, you know what I mean? It's
I
like,
got lucky and found a way to make money doing it, but I'm
you care.
an artist.
I consider somebody who's also an artist is they have that motivation and the feelings of like, this is like a part of me. I'm making this because I care about it.
Yeah.
And I care about the feeling of somebody when they see it.
Yeah.
It's not like, for me, a lot of times I look at a piece of content and I'm like, just because of my position in the company and how I view things, I'm like, okay, but what's the relevancy? How does this get us engagement views? Like it's about metrics and analytical data, which is good for us because we, you know, I mean, as 50/50 partners, we're able to play off of those two emotions, and hopefully that means company growth, so that we can actually do this full time. And so it's one of those things where, you know, I think I understand your side of it, and Peter McKinnon was saying the same thing. He's like, well, a lot of the short form stuff is not like well produced. People just make it, they pump it out, it is what it is, and then somehow you end up getting, you know, 1.5 million views in 2 days, and you're like, oh wow, and then people keep doing it. Which, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good creators that are making some good content, but it's worth looking at another medium. I think it's the nice thing is it's going to challenge us to make something in that form, but do it in our way and somehow make it ours.
Yeah. And I was pretty averse to looking at a lot of like things like TikTok or like the shorts, I think is what YouTube calls them. Because like I don't want to have like very small pulses of like content.